Good day, you absolute legends. Breaking news, the emoji has just dropped. That is right. Late last night at around about 12 p.m. GMT, going into the 1 o'clock of the early hours of this morning, Mr. Murray decided to drop an emoji. Holy smokes. Does this man ever sleep? This is such a unexpected turn of events, but we do have the emoji. What does this mean? Well, that is now the mass speculation that's happening, but in today's video we have all the latest scoop with all the latest information, so make sure you don't go anywhere. Now, as always, ladies and gentlemen, before we do get into today's video, can you please just make sure that you are still subscribed to the channel, and if you need to resubscribe, please do resubscribe. The reason being is, as we know by now, YouTube unsubscribes you, the viewer, from your favorite YouTubers without your knowledge or consent. It is a massive problem, so please just make sure for me that you are still subscribed to the channel. Resubscribe if you need to, or if you have been watching me for a while, you like what I do, then why not consider hitting that subscribe button? You definitely will not regret it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into today's video. So Mr. Murray dropped the vase emoji. Now, why did he pick that particular emoji? There must be some sort of deeper meaning behind it, because it's a very specific one to choose. Well, this is the interesting thing, because if we actually hover over the vase emoji, you can actually see what it's called. Now, the vase itself is called an amphoria, and these were used by ancient Greeks. But what were they actually used for? So I had a quick Google search, and this is what it said. So on Wikipedia, they're a great use to maritime archaeologists. You know, it indicates the age of shipwrecks. And the reason for that actually is in the next link down below, is because they are storage jars. They're pots designed to be transported around from place to place, and you would often find these jars, these amphorias, on ships being transported through the ancient world. So now we can start to build a picture of what these vases were used for, and also what it could signify for Norman Sky. Now, one of the biggest things with Worlds Part 1, for example, was the new ocean mechanics. And as we've just read there, those vases were used to transport goods across the ancient world, across the oceans. That's what they was predominantly used for. So if we do compare that to the Worlds Part 1 update, because we're looking back to try and look forward here, this actually ties in quite significantly with what has been discovered in the game files. Now, once again, I bring up that Bomber Boy. I'll have his link in the video description down below to this particular mod that I'm going to show you right now, because this mod that he made isn't just a usual mod. It's using game files that have been placed there since Worlds Part 1, and essentially they're normally dormant game files, but he's reactivated them. But here's the interesting thing. Let's read this description right here and see what the mod includes. So, implements many of the functional unused features from Worlds Part 1 in-game, integrating them seamlessly into the game's normal gameplay. Changes include: added the unused ruins and desolate land biomes to the normal spawn pool. Ruins planets exist as a subtype of lush worlds, whilst desolate planets spawn in as a subtype of desert planets. Added the focus building camera mode, replacing the regular free cam, featuring an isometric view with a build grid. The controls for this new mod are listed down below. Added the Iron Giant to normal building spawns. This behemoth replaces beacons as a POI or point of interest. Added the Manta Ray, replacing standard fishes. These underwater wonders have 6 total model variations and several different color combinations. Added the unused underwater creepy underwater towers and underwater forest water biomes. Whilst the model name suggests that these biomes are meant to spawn in an unused quote-unquote deep water region on planets, and I'll get back onto that in just a second, this is not possible to implement, as such regions do not exist in the game's code at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get back onto that again in a second, because that is very, very juicy indeed. Added the unused flying lizards glow variant of standard flying lizard creatures, replacing the non-glowing variants on planets. So, as we know right now, ladies and gentlemen, I even touched upon this in yesterday's video. Right now, with the oceans and the way they work, in regards to actually lifelike oceans, essentially the oceans in games that we have on any planet that you go to essentially are nothing more than essentially a puddle at this point. They're not very deep at all. And yes, you can make the argument they can go underneath the map and fly down, but that's not really an ocean. That's just a rendering blip at that point. But I'm talking about actual oceans with full render in them and everything. They're essentially not deep at all. They are just like literally a puddle if you compare it to real life oceans. Now, this is what that point there that I really wanted to go back to. Now, where you can see it added unused underwater creepy underwater towers, underwater forests, and it even goes on to say that at this point they can't implement the actual the files and the folders because there is no deep water regions on planets. But this is the thing. They don't exist in the game's code, but yet they are there nonetheless. Why would files and all the work that would need to go into generate that kind of stuff go into the game folders if they weren't going to be used? And obviously, if we go back to what the emoji actually is, which is an amphoria, then it would suggest that obviously it is going to be a water update if we tie these two things in together. But more importantly, because it's an amphoria was used by ancient Greeks, again, it also ties in with this very mod because we now have an answer to the unused ruins assets that I've also shown on this channel before, and I'll have a quick video snippet of that right now. Now, don't these to me look like ancient Greek structures or some sort of variant of them? And obviously, these vases back in the day were used by ancient Greeks. And we also have, essentially, ancient Greek structures. Well, what we would consider ancient Greek structures. Anyway, this is Norman Sky, so it's obviously something completely different. But it's heavily inspiration by them, in my opinion. But, I mean, doesn't that now make sense? In my mind, it really does. So, we could be seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, a complete revamp to oceans. They've done a lot of work on top of the ocean surface. Obviously, with the wave generation with Worlds Part 1, it would only make sense to continue that work, but underneath, and add in different things on land as well, like with the Iron Giant, with the unused ruins. Again, it all does kind of tie in together, which is very, very exciting indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section down below, do you agree with my assessment here today on what that emoji could signify, what it specifies, and do you think it's something to do that maybe it's going to have a revamp of the oceans, we're going to get the ancient ruins, all the stuff that has already been dug in the data files, do you think that's now going to come to fruition? Do you think it's going to be all completely changed? Do you think we're going to really get purely deep oceans? Do you think this is going to be an ocean update, which I suspect may be, looking at the evidence, and I can only go off what I see, then I suspect that's probably going to be the case. But let me know what you think. Do you agree with my assessment here today, or do you think the emoji means something completely different? Let me know your theories in the comment section down below. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. But as always, my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.